Hello, everyone. So today I posed a question in on my Facebook page, and the question was, can anybody guess what I think the cause and cure of narcissism may be? And what I suggest is that the answer to that is the same for both of those questions. There's one thing that is both the cause and the cure um, for narcissism. So I would understand by the lack of guesses that um, perhaps you're a little bit shy to share your answers. um, it might just be that nobody's read it, but anyway. So anyway, without further ado, these are my thoughts on this question. What is the cause and cure of narcissism? Well, if we go to the literature, we go to the DSM, we go to, all the research about narcissism, it all has the same premise that narcissism is the result of a deep trauma in the very early years of life, 2, 3 years old, even before that, but generally around 2 to 3 years old, where the child experiences some huge traumatic event. And as a result of this, the child believes that it's experienced this trauma due to its own self failing it. Its true self has failed it. And because of that, what needs to happen is the child then cuts off from its own true identity, from its authentic self, because it believes that this authentic self is something shameful, something just it's the enemy. It's their enemy. So they need to cut off from that completely and permanently so that they never have to experience that shameful self, that shame-filled core that is there as a result of the trauma. So the cause of narcissism is a traumatic event, but I would say that it's not actually the traumatic event that's the cause, it's the shame that is internalized as a result and taken on as the core identity. That's the cause of narcissism, is shame. Shame about the self. So if I'm saying the cause of narcissism is shame, I'm also saying that the cure for narcissism is shame. Now, why do I say that? So if what causes narcissism is cutting off from shame, cutting off from that feeling of shame, the shameful self, the cure then must be to undo that and face the shame. And that makes logical sense. That, I would suggest, is the truth. But you see, of course, with a narcissist, somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, the cutting off has become a permanent thing. It is such that for a narcissist to even begin to connect or face that internal core of shame, it's something that would cause them to almost implode or feel like death. So for a narcissist, there's no going there really. And that's why narcissists are always trying to keep their esteem up, because they've got to maintain that distance from the core of shame that they've severed within them. So what is all of this about? What is this video about, really? I mean, what am I trying to get at here? If you find that you're sort of, quite horrified by this, this experience of a child going through such trauma and then cutting off from their true identity, I can totally relate to that. It seems so incomprehensible, and it is in many ways, but at the heart of narcissism is shame. So if shame is at the heart of narcissism and it's the precursor or the instigator or the catalyst for narcissistic personality disorder, well then we need to have a look at ourselves. You know, if we want to stop this multi-generational transmission of narcissism in our world, well, the place to go within ourselves, because we have to start there. It's not in the other person. It's actually in here. Is there any shame in me? Because if shame is the trigger, then we've got to be brave enough to ask the question, okay, where are the aspects of shame that I harbor in me? And I need to bring those out into the light, and I need to process them. I need to face them, so that I can let go of the shame, because we don't want shame festering within us. Because I believe any shame within us actually does, it is the propeller almost, or the catalyst for us to act in narcissistic ways or codependent ways as well, unhealthy ways. So shame is what we need to get to. And I encourage you, you know, this is the work of therapy. It's about bringing to light those aspects of ourselves that we try to keep hidden, much like the narcissist. But we have the opportunity, if we're not narcissistic personality disordered, to actually reconnect and be freed from that shame, because that shame really, at the end of the day, there's none to be had. It's all a lie. It's all a child's internalization of negative beliefs about itself that were just not true. And that's the work I do with clients. It's so liberating. It really is. So yeah, I do encourage you, take that step, work with a therapist. I'm here. And you know, liberate yourself from shame, because that's doing the work then of liberation for the next generation. And that's what we're all about here. um, thank you, everybody. I shall see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. Take care. Bye now.